Good morning. I just want to talk to you today about the book, The Love Language. I personally think it's done a lot more harm than good because it's made women expect their husbands to love them like they want to be loved. Just on Facebook, I read a woman feeling just so not loved by her husband because he doesn't love her with her love language. If you're going to read that book, don't read that book for how your husband should love you. If you're going to read that book, you go to your husband and ask him what his love language is, and you start loving him the way he wants to be loved. Women, the more expectations you put upon your husband, I can guarantee you that the more unhappy you will be. The only expectations you should have on your husband is that he works hard to provide, he doesn't physically abuse you, and he's faithful to you, things of this nature. But in the way that he treats you, how he talks to you all the time, the way he lives his life, those are his to decide, and he gets to live the way he wants to. It's not for you to decide how it's perfectly fine to tell him that you would love for him to be more affectionate or, help you more or whatever, but then leave it there. Just share it and then leave it. And if you become angry and bitter because he's not loving you with your love language, you are in sin, because anger and bitterness are not from the Lord. Bitterness will defile you and your marriage and your children. So stop placing these expectations upon your husband about how he should treat you, how he should talk to you, how he should love you. Just love him for the good qualities that he has, and instead put your focus on yourself and becoming the wife that God calls you to be. He calls you to love your husband, to not deprive him sexually, to submit to him in everything, to obey him, to have a meek and quiet spirit, to not be quarrelsome and contentious, but to be kind, loving, generous, cheerful. This is the way you win your husband, women. You don't win them by nagging them, insisting them they treat you the way you want them to treat you, insist that they love you the way that you want them to love you. That just will put a huge wall between the two of you and start tearing your marriage down. I know I tried that for half of my marriage. The last half of my marriage, I've gone about it God's ways, and God's ways work. My husband enjoys me now. He loves having me for a wife because I'm not trying to consistently change him, control him, because I think I know what's best. I don't insist he treat me the way I want to be treated. If he's having a bad day or says something unkind, I pour love and grace upon him. I don't always have to scold him and correct him and be upset with him. I can't even remember the last time I was upset with him, really. Learning to pour love and grace upon your husband is the way to live, women. It's a way to have a good marriage. It's a way to not allow your emotions to control you. It's just peaceful. It's building your home up. It's building your marriage up. Your husband wants a peaceful home. He wants a content wife. He wants a loving and warm wife. Focus on your role. You have no ability to change your husband, but God can change your husband through your obedience to him, as we're told in 1 Peter 3, 1 and 2. So stop expecting things from your husband. Love him, serve him, be the wife that God calls you to be, and watch how God works in his life, because his ways are perfect. They're so much better than our ways. Our nagging, manipulating, controlling is just not from God. It just tears down your marriage. So stop and start focusing on becoming the wife that God has called you to be. Throw away that book, The Love Language, and just focus on loving your husband the way God has called you to love him, with no expectations in return. You are then storing your treasures in heaven where they belong. And know what? You will reap what you sow eventually. This is an eternal principle, And it's said throughout the Bible, and God keeps his promises. So just keep obeying him, living for him, and doing what's right. Have a good day. Bye-bye.